Next Chapter Podcasts.
In this episode, we swear just a little bit, and there are some pretty intense moments related to sexual assault, struggles with mental health, and self-harm. But it's also honest and very real. You can find more information like specific content warnings in the show notes. And by the way, if you have a story of family secrets or darkly funny drama that you want to share, we want to hear it. Email us at everybodyknowspod@gmail.com. We'll keep you completely anonymous if you want, and only publicize details you feel comfortable sharing with the world.
Everybody Knows But Me is brought to you by Memento Mori, reminding us all of the fleeting nature of being, and the Tamagotchi Corporation. Our show is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Dear Diary, it's day 5 here at the Healing Brook Mental Wellness Center, which sounds like a day spa, and that's exactly what my insurance would like you to believe. But boy, am I ready to go home. Sure, things got pretty intense for me for a bit, and I kinda didn't have a choice about coming here, but there's a lot that I'm gonna not miss about this place. If I have to eat pasta for breakfast, lunch, and dinner anymore, I might murder Chef Boyardee. I did have a few laughs, though, and made some friends along the way, like my roommate, Beatrice, who says she can talk to God.
Holly, darling, be a dear and brush my hair.
Sorry, Bea. Can't right now. I'm in the middle of something.
You will burn for eternity in the fires of damnation.
What a character. Speaking of, this guy next door, Nelson, is a real wild card. He's a gambling addict with schizophrenia who always walks by my room. In 3, 2, 1.
Which one of you melonheads has the remote? Don't you know it's the last leg of the Triple Crown? I got 28K riding on a pony named Calvin Coolidge Jr.
Who would even take that bet, Nelson? You got no money.
I'll have you know I agree to that wager.
Listen, buddy, if you keep betting against yourself, you're never gonna... You know what? Never mind.
Good morning, Healing Brook family. It's time for our first session of the day. If you could please start making your way to the rec room.
Are you there, God? It's me, Beatrice.
Come on, Bea, before they make us choke down more cheeseless macaroni.
Okay, friends. Good to see everyone. How are we today? Everyone feeling the 3 Ps? Peaceful, patient, prepared for disruptions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Now how about some morning announcements, huh? So first things first, I want to talk about trust. It feels like trust is at an all-time low here at Healing Brook, and it makes me really disappointed. Because our team here has done nothing but try to build trust as all of you here try to grow and reconnect with reality. And part of that means us opening your mail, watching you sleep, and listening to your phone calls. So let's try our best to reframe things. A big part of your mental health journey is positivity. So for example, you might find yourself saying, sure, we don't have books to read, but we do have minion-themed word searches. And doesn't the silly way they talk make my sadness just disappear? I'm sorry, Miss Brown. Something funny?
Oh, nothing. Just that giving unstable people word searches in a made-up minion language feels like throwing napalm on a bonfire.
Sorry, Miss Brown. I almost forgot. You think your time here with us is nearly done. This all probably seems like a joke now, huh?
No, sir. Very serious, sir. You're absolutely right.
Wonderful. We're actually done with morning announcements. So how about we get things started today? I hear your sister is coming to pick you up today. Maybe now would be a good time for an evaluation to make sure that's still the right choice.
Oh, sure. You normally do this kind of thing in private, but
Well, if you think you might not be ready to leave, we can...
No. I'm ready. I am so ready.
Wonderful. Let's get into it then. You've been taking your meds?
The same mystery pill no one's allowed to question and everyone's expected to take? Yep, totally.
And you're not thinking of hurting yourself, are you?
No, absolutely not.
Even though it is fairly common for someone dealing with what you're going through? Honestly, amazing it doesn't happen more. You could probably even get one of those fourth-floor windows open without much fuss. Wouldn't need to go much higher, really.
Wait, are you suggesting that I...
Violent threat to themselves and others say what?
What?
Hey, sis! So excited you're ready to come home!
Oh my god, Casey, get me out of here! There's no way anyone can get better in these places. It's like all they want to do is trap you into staying here so they can keep making money off of you.
That is flagrant slander. And your sister is at risk, miss. I cannot release her without giving her the treatment she needs.
What Holly needs is a caring, loving environment full of people who only want her to get better. What you need is a reminder that California law says a 5150 hold only really lasts for 72 hours.
Thanks, sis. Let's leave this place in the dust. Where are we headed first, by the way? A loving and caring environment?
Another mental hospital. We just dropped off Mom this morning.
We've talked a lot about sitcom family stereotypes, but the reason those tropes work, the reason they've existed in sitcom writers' rooms for decades, is because they're rooted in very real family dynamics. Sitcoms just simplify them, exaggerate them, and throw a laugh track underneath them. But the emotional archetypes are actual family roles psychologists analyze all the time. There's the smart one, who's responsible, brainy, mature beyond their years, which in real life can mean anxious, parentified, and suppressing every need they've ever had to keep the peace. There's the zany little brother who's climbing furniture, lighting something on fire in the background, disappearing for hours. But in actuality, maybe they're neglected and left unchecked. And then there's the problem child, the dramatic one. The black sheep. Families don't sit around assigning these roles like a casting director for a TGIF lineup, but in high-stress households, especially ones shaped by addiction, neglect, secrecy, or emotional instability, people unconsciously fall into these dynamics because simplifying things can create an illusion of stability. Instead of seeing people fully, everyone becomes the overachiever, or the sensitive one, or maybe the wild one. Once that role is assigned, it sticks. Families notice the behavior that reinforces it and ignore the behavior that contradicts it. Eventually, the kid starts performing the role too because, well, everybody already decided that's who they are. Now, guess which role I got assigned? I'll give you a hint. It wasn't the lovable comedic relief who pops up every once in a while just to drop an iconic catchphrase.
Serenity now!
I was a little Darlene Connor.
What are you talking about? I don't smoke pot. Dulls my hatred.
A sprinkle of Eddie Winslow.
Well, Eddie, if you need someone to confide in...
No. I don't want to air out dirty laundry. I'll just go down to Principal Shimada's office and let him take away the one thing I have left that brings me joy.
And a lot of Sean Hunter.
I don't know, but I've been told. Where the hell is everybody? Where the hell is everybody? Stop it. Stop it. You trying to be cute with me, boy? Maybe.
I remember watching Sean as a kid thinking, how could these adults ever treat Sean like he's the problem when he's had such a difficult life? Why is he being compared to Corey Matthews, whose biggest crises are like ski lodge drama and his brother's hot roommate? Corey's baseline is a home of morality and safety, and his problems only felt big because he's never actually had to wonder if his family was gonna implode. So the problem child usually isn't actually this awful, uncontrollable kid. More often, They're just the loudest one in the room. The one reacting most visibly, least capable of pretending everything is fine. The one who's destructively screaming, hey guys, something is very wrong here. I became the one acting out all the feelings nobody else wanted to acknowledge because I made sure my pain was going to be the hardest to ignore. From Next Chapter Podcasts and Companion Arts, this is Everybody Knows But Me, Episode 5, the one where I hit rock bottom. We're about halfway through this story, and some pretty insane things have happened. 2 addicted parents, abuse, terminal cancer, neglect, me desperately wishing my favorite sitcom families could somehow reach through the TV screen and pull me into their world. Then, just to completely jump the shark, my dying dad's secret twin confession that everybody else knew about. Even I'm listening back to this story like, this is my life? Checks notes. That is, in fact, the plot. The writer's room of my life was in sweeps week, throwing absolutely everything at the wall. What's next? Somebody joins a cult or turns into a robot Urkel clone? That brings us here, to the problem child character whose inner world we haven't really cracked open yet. And you guessed it, folks, my brain was basically a game of Operation full of so many secrets and unresolved issues that every time I tried to pull one thing out, bzz, emotional disaster. Because while all of this was happening, I was also trying to figure out how to be a person, a child person specifically, with emotions I didn't yet have the language for and without adults helping me process them. So, how exactly does young Holly Brown respond to all of this? What does normal even look like when your actual life feels nothing like everyone else's? How do you go to school and talk about homework and crushes when your nervous system is always preparing for battle? All I can say is, buckle up. It only gets wilder.
You got it, June.
Losing my childhood home because of my mom's addiction was a problem people finally noticed, and it was devastating. I loved that house. Honestly, I still drive by it sometimes. It's painted a different color now, and there are all these additions on it, but the bones are still exactly the same. And, well, so are mine.
I just can hear, like, even from when you were little, I just hear Mom's voice so distinctly going, "Oh, Holly." That's what she would say all the time, because Holly's like running down the street or drinking the mud or eating the snails or whatever you were doing.
From as early as my toddler years, I hated being told what to do. If somebody said, "Don't leave this spot," I'd immediately do this little bow-legged sprint down the street as far as I could get before someone came chasing after me. I always wanted to leave, but I also desperately wanted someone to want me to stay. What's that you say? Cue the ominous sitcom foreshadowing music? Not now, faithful listener. Can't you tell we're already in the middle of a music bed? I was a quirky, goofy little kid. My middle name is Annabelle, but my dad nicknamed me Bugabelle because I loved bugs that much. While my sister was making tiny cakes in her Easy Bake oven, I was over there cooking up mutant insects in my creepy crawlers machine. Don't get me wrong, I liked dolls. I had Barbies. I loved Polly Pockets and moody little Bratz dolls with giant, beautiful alien heads. But in classic middle child fashion, and please feel free to roll your eyes when I say this, I marched to the beat of my own drum. Like, successfully convincing my parents to let me get an iguana because I dreamed of walking one down the street on a leash like a tiny suburban eccentric. Or cutting all of my hair off and bleaching a giant stripe like Rogue from X-Men into it because I felt like I was her kindred mutant spirit.
Now remember, Rogue, no scenes.
No scenes, sugar. Just a little down-home charm.
Even then, I knew who I was.
You were never afraid to let people know how you felt about things. Like when we were little, we wore hand-me-down Halloween costumes. We were princesses for about 4 years in a row from our babysitter and her daughter's costumes. They were beautiful, handmade, hand-sewn costumes, but Holly really didn't want to be a princess. She had cut her hair in the ugliest haircut of all time and demanded that she wear a baseball hat with Grumpy on it, the dwarf, because she's like, I'm not going to be a princess. I'm a grumpy princess.
If this is how I can show my distaste for this costume, I will.
So you always knew how you felt, about stuff like that.
Wow, I didn't put that together about how young I was when I was just like, I'm moody.
Yeah.
My big emotions were also noted from a very young age. Even though my sister was only 18 months older than me, she was taller, stronger, and significantly better at tricking my parents into thinking I broke the lamp when I absolutely did not break the lamp, Casey. She may have had early strength and strategy, but I had crocodile tears and biting.
Oh! What the hell is wrong with you?
And my God, only an incredibly dramatic child chooses biting as their primary method of conflict resolution. My parents would call me their little Sarah Bernhardt, a legendary stage actress from the 1800s known for these huge vaudevillian performances. Time out. Look at this. The earliest sign that my desperate need to be seen and heard would one day take me from my bedroom to the stage, right to your ears.
Trust me, I love all your siblings, but I have to say, you're kind of bookended.
Yeah.
You have peacemaker bookends. And where they would go around the curtain, you just barge through the curtain. And you were always that way, though, ever since you were little. And that had to be hard for you because you probably felt different.
Yeah, I did.
But you were just being your genuine, true self.
Like my Aunt Cecilia just pointed out, even when the consequences were unfair, I've always had this instinct to say what's on my mind and trust that I can survive whatever happens after. But when I was young, being loud, sensitive, emotional, or outspoken didn't feel like qualities anybody appreciated about me. It felt like one of the first places I was taught that there was something fundamentally wrong with me. Because once things became scary in the Brown household, after the sun would go down and my dad's drunkenness became unavoidable, we all adapted differently. At the time, it felt like my dad favored my younger brother, who was still in kindergarten. My sister learned to stay out of his way completely, and I became the kid who challenged him. He had hurt my mom, and now me too. I'd look around at my siblings and interpret that as there must be something wrong with me. Still, I tried really hard to carry on like a normal kid and find things that made me happy. And when you grow up visiting studio lots, sitting in TV audiences, watching Ray Romano catch a pop fly at a sitcom softball game, Hollywood starts to feel weirdly attainable. So naturally, I decided I wanted to be an actor. After all, I did have the off-camera troubled child star trauma part down.
Other than that, I'm in good shape.
And unlike with modeling, acting felt like a way to get people to see me for who I was and not what I looked like. I'd watch Amanda Bynes on All That and think, I want to make people laugh. I hit a huge growth spurt early, was very tall and skinny, and those quote-unquote talent scouts that lurk around the mall would approach me constantly, make me feel like all of my comedy dreams were one contract away. My dad had just been kicked out of the house, and my mom's addiction was starting to spiral, but still, I had to try. After a disastrous headshot session where my mom drove me there high and on a flat tire that threatened to cause a wreck at any moment, I learned pretty quickly that I could not rely on my parents to help me pursue this dream. I tried for a little while after that, but managing my mom's addiction proved too much for Snickers commercial auditions. So I quit and filed it away as a dream to chase some other day. But as things in my life kept getting crazier, my Sarah Bernhardt emotions got even bigger. I became angry, explosive at home, and instead of focusing on any of the reasons behind that, my parents decided to put me in anger management therapy.
I was so mad I was there because I was like, I'm not like these other kids. I'm not, that's mean. I don't know if I'm casting aspersions on them, but like, I'm sort of being there like, I am here because I hate you guys. I'm not angry at I'm angry at the world because I'm in this situation. And, you know, growing up, being told I was so dramatic all the time, and I it's like complicated because I know there's parts of that are true. I'm an extroverted, big, explosive person. But when somebody's also using that against you, I don't know anymore. I don't know if I am or if I'm living in reality. Like, so I'm like, lifetime of people, and like, it's just everything was made to framed like it was my fault.
It was the beginning of a pattern. Everything framed as evidence that I was the problem instead of evidence that something was wrong in our home. I felt enraged about life, but I didn't know how to express it in a healthy way, and eventually, I started looking at my own emotions suspiciously. Was I actually sad, or was I just being dramatic? Was I reacting appropriately, or was I just pulling a Holly? And yes, I am trademarking that. My sister and brother weren't acting this way, so why couldn't I be more like them? One of my goals during this podcast was to ask my Aunt Cheryl, my dad's youngest sibling, about a particular moment. Something that as a preteen permanently shaped the way I thought the adults around me viewed me. It involved a conversation with my mom and sister about my dad's abuse.
I asked my mom if anybody else knew. Like, does Uncle Matt, Aunt KJ, Aunt Cheryl? And she said that she had told you, and that you said, Mark would never do that, Holly's a liar. And that, I think it literally just took me till now as an adult to be like, did this even happen?
Never.
Yeah.
Never happened.
That's what I thought the answer was going to be.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Well, I'm shocked that my brother did that.
Yeah, I know.
But for you to know that if I ever knew about that, I would have come and got you. Like 100%.
I didn't know that. And I think that's like, for a very long time, I thought people in the family assumed I was a liar.
I don't think my mom made that up as some calculated act of evil. But addiction is a disease, and sometimes that disease's survival mode is deflection, desperately needing the spotlight off yourself and onto literally anything else. And I was an easy target. Loud, emotional, already labeled the problem. But for me, it fused directly to my bones. From that moment on, I genuinely thought no one would believe what I said if the accusation came from me. It also wasn't the only moment during the making of this podcast where I realized that something my mom claimed other people said about me, things I carried for decades, weren't actually true. And I still grieve how many years I spent building my identity around things that never even happened. So, there I was, a preteen forced into therapy, trying to correct my reactions before anyone bothered addressing the things causing them. As if I was just having some my so-called life-esque teen girl existential crisis. And then, something unspeakable happened. My therapist, an older man with thinning hair and glasses, someone I hadn't fully opened up to yet but was trying to trust, suddenly sat down next to me on the couch instead of across, like usual. And then he put his hands on me. Somewhere an adult should never put their hands on a child. Life was already falling apart around me, and now I had to worry about this too. I didn't tell anyone. Why would I? I already believed nobody trusted what I said. So instead, I did what kids in unstable homes learn to do best. Block it out, shrink it down, bury it alive, and keep moving. I had to see him a few more times after that, and honestly, I don't even remember how I eventually got out of therapy. My brain basically just hit the emergency eject button and disassociated through the rest of it. But even this became something I believed I had caused. Like the mere fact that it happened to me meant I had done something wrong. This black sheep subplot had officially turned into its own dark little spin-off series. And a true sitcom problem child comes with very specific qualifications. But if my life had one of those cheesy TGIF promos, my version of a troubled kid didn't fit so neatly into something that black and white. You know the kind of ads I'm talking about, sandwiched between Captain Crunch and Toys R Us spots that would leave you on the edge of your seat. So much so that you chose to stay home on a Friday night. You know what? This feels like a job for our show announcer. Take it away, anonymous VO guy.
This week on Everybody Knows But Me.
It's hard enough, and now Holly's in trouble. And I wish that Holly would just not get in trouble or
Holly's struggle to keep it together at home starts to make its way outside of the house.
Get into a lot of trouble? No, I'm being serious. Oh, I did get arrested a lot.
And I would just be like,
I'm like, did I?
What
do I do? Then, Holly enters her freshman year and senior boys take notice.
Yeah, I think I prioritize boys because they made me feel loved. Yeah. And I didn't get that. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Looks like there's a new, sad, not exactly by-the-book wild child in town.
I just was so conditioned from such an early age, men like you, so you must like them. Yeah. And looking back, I'm like, oh, God.
In Holly's world, her parents thought she was one bad girl.
You didn't drink.
No!
You didn't do drugs.
I was straight edge for sure.
But did she really fit the mold?
I was like, do not even. You have weed and or alcohol in your breath? Get away from me.
This Friday at 8 p.m. Central, only on Typecast TV.
My sister seemed like the perfect kid. Helpful, responsible, beloved by every adult she encountered. My brother could get away with almost anything because, well, he was little and no one was really paying attention. But me? I felt like there was a microscope on me at all times. And to be fair, I did brush up against the classic bad girl checklist. I threw myself into boys because finally, someone was paying positive attention to me. And yeah, I did get arrested for shoplifting because I desperately wanted new back-to-school clothes and we couldn't afford them. I was going into 9th grade and I just wanted new clothes. And we didn't have any money. No one was taking us shopping. I think only if Aunt Cecilia came maybe to take us shopping did we get new stuff, right? Is that what you feel?
Yeah. I still have a cardigan that Aunt Cecilia bought me for a piano recital from when I was 14.
Does it fit?
It's nice. It's a nice cardigan. I got it from Ann Taylor Loft.
Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ann Taylor Loft. Oh my God, and Mom and Dad would never have gotten us Ann Taylor Loft. We were Target through and through at best.
JCPenney.
Yeah, JCPenney. So I just remember not knowing in my brain I know I'm not a bad kid. I know I'm not a bad kid, and I know that I really just wanted school clothes. I just wanted something. And then every mom got to use that, and be like, Holly shoplifted, she's a bad kid. My mom made it feel like people were constantly keeping score of every mistake I made. Sometimes I think of it as a chicken or the egg situation. Was I acting out because people saw me as the bad kid, or would I have done it anyway? I guess I'll never know. What I do know is that my anger didn't make life easier for my siblings either. They were the people I felt safest with, the people I knew would love me no matter what. But that also meant they got hit with the full force of my thunderstorm of emotions too. I had absolutely no idea how to talk about everything I was dealing with. The abuse, feeling targeted, constantly feeling unsafe around people I was supposed to trust. So instead, I yelled, I slammed doors, and became unpredictable. With all the chaos happening at home, the one place I actually felt normal, where I had a structure, routine, and escape, was school. But wait, the wild child isn't also good at school. Sorry, that's way too nuanced for a sitcom. Typecast TV would never have that storyline in a lineup. But I was a good student. I did everything I could to follow in my sister's impossibly giant scholastic footsteps. It didn't come as naturally to me as it did for her because, years later, I'd find out I had some learning differences. And boy, wish I had known that sooner. But we both poured ourselves into school. Because if no one at home was putting us first, maybe we could piece together little fragments of love from teachers who made us feel seen. So, doing my best impression of my sister, I joined student leadership, became president of the drama club, organized fundraisers, planned school dances. We stayed at school from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. for as long as humanly possible. But still, at home, I had already been assigned a role.
Miss Tittle, please report to the main office.
And then, my sister got to leave for college. Far, far away, where she could spend even more time at school and even less time inside our house. The year after that, my dad's health started rapidly declining. Every single year we were told he was going to die, and even though he didn't, he could no longer drive, and he needed constant care and help. And my mom continued to have brief stretches of sobriety, but drugs always found a way to creep back in. Then it was my senior year, and my dad's massive secret was finally out in the open. What did that mean for her? What was my mom feeling? Honestly, I don't think I even stopped to consider that until making this podcast. I was so consumed with trying to process the fact that everybody had hidden it from us. What I do know is that my mom's drug use kept cycling on and off, and I became obsessed with trying to stop it. I tried cutting off every possible avenue. One time, I literally called every person in her phone trying to figure out where she was getting drugs. Parent-child relationships were pretty theoretical to me. I really always thought I could stop it. I thought I could fix it. We have to do an intervention. We have to do something, I'd scream at home. But it was too much. No one knew how to fix this. So there I was, senior year of high school, the time you're supposedly figuring out the shape of the rest of your life. And I was forced to think about literally anything else. I just felt trapped.
I felt a lot of resentment because you got to go to college at the time that I was deciding when I was going to college. Like, you were already in college, you were going to high school, and it was kind of like put on me of like, well, you're going to help take care of dad. Like, you're going to help take him to chemo appointments. And I drove dad to chemo every week. And I felt so much resentment towards you guys because of that. And I know Yeah, I literally was like, is this change altering the course of my entire life and I have no fucking control over this? And I do think I could have, there's stuff I could have done differently, but I was just like, why do I have to be the one? Even though you had been taking care of things before that. So it's like, it just felt like that timing. I just was so mad about it.
It felt like life had decided, without any of us actually agreeing, that my path was going to look very different from my siblings. My sister worked incredibly hard to get scholarships to make up for our lack of money. And by the time my brother was college age, my dad had already passed away, and we were able to pay for school with money from his life insurance policy. But even though I had good grades, I wasn't my sister. I didn't qualify for scholarships the way she did, and we had no money for college otherwise. So the plan became, stay home, help take care of Dad, work part-time, and slowly pay my way through community college. I know I'm not alone in being priced out of the college experience, but at the time, it felt like my chances of escaping my situation were shrinking more and more. I could honestly go on forever about how cruel and classist society can be toward people without college degrees. I mean, I know men with college diplomas, technically, who still can't put on a fitted bedsheet, for God's sake. But beyond the practical stuff, this also became one more thing on the list of reasons I felt lesser than my siblings. Another reminder that maybe I just wasn't good enough. Maybe I was never gonna get out of this. Okay, time out. You know how I mentioned before that during sweeps week, sitcoms would suddenly take huge swings to boost ratings? Like fully abandoning the original premise for one wildly unhinged event episode, hoping for a big payoff? More viewers means you're definitely coming back for another season after all.
Good luck. Thanks, man. Hey. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Dun dun. Excuse me. Killer! Killer! You're the killer! And I know you're gonna tell me you're not the killer, and because you're beautiful, you think I'm gonna believe you, but I'm not! It's just like that movie, Killer, Killer, You're the Killer, and I know you're gonna tell me that
I'm not the killer.
I believe you.
My favorite example, no contest, is in Then There Was Sean. In February 1998, Boy Meets World randomly decided to become a slasher film. Jennifer Love Hewitt guest stars. The main characters start dying one by one. There's blood, screaming. Sean is revealed to be the killer, and then, surprise! The whole thing is happening inside his anxiety-riddled brain.
She doesn't look like a killer type to me.
So, now we arrive at the Sweeps Week episode of my Problem Child spin-off series. And though there are, yet again, similarities with my boy Sean Hunter, mine lived a lot more in reality. I was severely depressed, emotionally unstable, and convinced life was just going to keep finding new ways to hurt me forever. And I knew I did not want this show renewed for another season.
I was at UCLA at the time, and I was on the way to the play with my boyfriend at the time, and I was on campus when you called, you called me, yes, and you called me in you were not well. You were crying and very, very obviously upset, and I didn't know where you were.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you told me where you were or the police told me where you were.
I don't remember.
Don't recall. I think you might have told me because you didn't want to even talk to the police. And
I think I mentioned vaguely where I was, and
I found you were outside of a park near where Mom was living at the time.
Yeah.
And you were in our mom's car. You had a knife.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't come out. And you were definitely very much threatening self-harm and unclear to where that would go. But it was you were locked in the car with a knife. And you basically were I I will get out of this car if you're here only. Like, that was, I don't think you said that, but I was like, I am coming. Like, it was not a question in my mind. You know, it wasn't like I needed convincing. So I went and I was like, I will be there in 30 minutes. Like, stay there until then. And I got there and the police were there.
I don't even remember, Casey. Like, I have no memory of. I remember being on the car and stuff, but I don't remember like the police coming. I only remember being in the mental facility.
Yeah. I got there, got you out of the car, and then you went with the police.
And they had to wait for a room to open up at a place. So I then spent the night there.
It was basically the thinking, right or wrong, is that at least you won't harm yourself. That's all that hold is for, is like immediate harm abatement. But there's not facilities necessarily to accommodate that. So like you went there and then you went to a nicer place. The nicer place in Ventura, though, you were there for like a week and a half.
I was?
Yeah. Yeah. You were there for
Are you
like
fucking serious?
a week and a half to 2 weeks.
I knew they wouldn't let me out.
Yeah. You were there for a long time.
Wow. Time really doesn't matter when you're in there, but like, okay, I'm curious. I think we've had these conversations before, but like, the days leading up to me going to a mental hospital, have we talked about that fully?
What I remember from the time was that you had a boyfriend at the time and you had broken up, and that was like the catalyzing event.
Yeah, that didn't feel like that for me. Mm-hmm. That felt like what everyone else really wanted it to be. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I knew it wasn't that. I really like studied how to kill myself, like really looked up everything I possibly could online, and like I was like, looked up different methods to try to kill myself, because I was just, I have a lot of aversion to framing it around this relationship.
Yeah, and I know it wasn't just that. That's just like, I'm telling you what I remembered at the time was like, it was something to do with this breakup. And I know that that's not true now, but at the time, that's how everybody was like framing it.
This person and I broke up like, I don't remember when before, but beforehand, weeks, months before. But it was also like stuff was bad at home. Dad was very sick. Mom was still not well, like still very much in her addiction. I just remember feeling like absolutely no hope in the world, like no hope that life would ever get better, ever. And I do think those are the moments when like something like a breakup, or it could have been a friend breakup or something like that thing can happen, and it just like shines a light on everything else that you used the other thing to avoid. Mm-hmm. You know, at least that's what it felt like for me, where it's like this, I can't even have this thing unconnected to my home life. And so I looked up, I really researched how I could kill myself, and I started to slowly steal Mom's medication, and I looked it up, and that just seemed like the most painless for other people method that I could do, is like kill myself with a drug overdose. And so I like siphoned a lot of Mom's various pills, and one night I took them all. And the thing that I think about this is, I don't think you were home because you were at college, and I know Mom and Dad were home when I did this, and I was in my room, and like I would often just stay in my room and not come out probably, but I took a bunch of like so many pills. And I remember like having read exactly what it would say it would feel like. Like, this is what it's going to feel like. This is how you know it's working, which in hindsight, who's writing this? Yeah. How do they know? But I started feeling those things. I started feeling like, slowly started feeling dizzy. And then I would start feeling like go into blackouts. And I was just sitting in my bed, and my mom and dad were at home. And I remember this, like, I don't know how to describe it now, but like whatever they described it as in this thing that I was reading, I felt, where I was like, this is this very distinct feeling of this is happening. The pills are working and I'm going to die. Like, I took so many pills, and I remember feeling like everything was getting black. My whole world was getting black. My vision was going dark. And then all of a sudden, I projectile vomited everywhere over my room. You didn't know this?
No.
What? You weren't home. I projectile vomited everywhere. And I was so ashamed like that it didn't work. And I was so ashamed that I now had to clean all this. Like, I remember going out to the room and or out of the room and getting to my mom actually helped me clean it up, but she didn't know what it was from, but she helped me clean it up. And then I was I still had it all in my system. And I just remember laying on the couch, and Dad was on the couch, and I was just laying there and just a shell of myself because I had all these drugs in my system and I didn't tell anybody what I had done. Mom just thought I was sick. And I was so mad. I remember feeling that's my chance for it to work. And I just fucked it up or something. I can't even do that right or something. And so the next day, once the drugs had got out of my system a little more, I just lost it. I totally lost it. And I just totally lost it. And I just was I don't know what to do. I just don't want to be around. I hate this life. And I remember grabbing a knife from the kitchen and grabbing the keys to Mom's car, driving and not knowing where I was going. And I'm sure, I don't know at the time if you know, I was just cutting my legs up.
I saw you.
And I know deep down, I was too scared to do anything, actually kill myself with a knife. That's why I chose pills at first. But it doesn't mean I didn't know I was going to hurt myself. I kind of knew I wasn't going to kill myself with a knife at that point, but I also knew I didn't want to live. And I didn't trust myself at home, And then I remember texting you from the car, sitting on top of this hill, looking over this park at night.
I got a goodbye text.
Yes. And then I texted you, and I don't know. I just really feel like you were my only lifeline of knowing that someone cared about me. I had just projectile vomited all over my room, and no one was what's going on? You okay? This isn't normal. And I just felt like no one gave a fuck about me. And I hated our life so much. And then they took me to the place. Did you come to the hill?
Mm-hmm.
Were you there when the police took me?
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
Just logistical stuff, mostly. Just I was what's gonna happen? Can I bring a blanket? They were no, you can't do anything. You can't give her anything. I just asked a lot of questions. Will you get medical care?
Was it just you there? Or your boyfriend maybe at the time?
No, not my boyfriend, just me.
Nobody else? Just you? No mom and dad?
No, it was just me at that first place.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mom came with me one time to the nice place. And I think Aunt Cecilia came. So, yeah, it was just a lot of logistics, and I think I went into kind of just, okay, what do we need to do now mode? Because it was all new for both of us, being in this medical system. And so I think we were both just learning what that was, and you learn about the hold, and you learn about how insurance works, and going to certain places and beds having to be open, and so I think it was you getting in, and then me just kind of talking. They had a social worker person that was helping find the bed and run insurance and all that stuff. So it was, I left after they had kind of sorted
But this is all very late at night, right?
Yeah, it was 2 a.m. And then it was then sometime in the next day that they took you to the
you know how they take you?
Mm-mm.
They strap you to a gurney.
Oh my god.
And they take you in an ambulance.
That's crazy.
And you can see outside of the ambulance, you can see the cars, you're facing the people driving, and you can just see them look at you. And you're just this is how you treat people that wanted to kill themselves?
It's crazy.
But that's because they put you all together, even if you are in the same boat or not. You wanted to kill yourself, or you accidentally overdosed because of your drug addiction, or this other thing. It's all treated the same. Yeah. Did you come to that place more than once?
Yeah. I I went every other day. Because like you were just alone, and mom came one time. Dad was not well, like he couldn't really travel, but like I don't know. I knew that you did not think in the same way I did. You know, like I don't think I would have ever diagnosed you with anything. Like, but I was like, Holly is different than me. But that was like the first time that I ever was confronted with what suicide would mean, how you might think about that. Like, very luckily, it is not something I've had to feel in my life. And I think, I mean, I hate to say I think I'm in a minority. I think a lot of people have gotten to the place that you were at, and have been at before.
Yeah.
But I didn't know anything about it. And so for me, it was important to, like, I was just like, I just shifted like my whole world. I was like, and this is where you learn and you're not right. But I was like, what do I need to do to show Holly it's like worth it to be here? And like that, like, how do I keep her alive? And that was all I was trying to do. I was like, how do I keep Holly alive?
I know. I could feel it. Like you went into action mode, and you always did. And I just, so much regret about the positions I put you in. And
I don't think you should feel regret though, because
I don't think I would be alive without you. Like, I truly don't, Case. I really don't. I know that's like probably not the opposite of what I should be saying mental health wise, is like, it was all on one person. It wasn't all on you at all, but you just immediately, like, I remember even now knowing that you didn't know everything, you didn't know, there were certain things you didn't know, like, you just took me seriously. You knew that I was not okay. And I don't feel like other people in our family were looking at it like that. They were looking at it like, snap out of it. Like, what's wrong with you, Holly?
Yeah.
And I just knew you weren't thinking of it at like, I felt that you weren't thinking of it like, Holly, get over this. Like, don't act like this. You were like, I felt like you wanted to help me, not force me to be something I wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, well, I have been your sister long enough to know that forcing you to do anything you don't want to do is not going to work. And I think part of that is like when that all happened, like they didn't see you. I mean, if they'd seen you that night, I think people would have taken it a lot more seriously.
You do?
Yeah. I mean, it was like you were bloody and you were covered in like cuts and blood.
I felt crazed. Like, I really felt like it's so weird to think about how you have what you have done and what you've lived through, and then be like, who is that person?
Yeah.
I don't know how that person feels currently, but I know that I did, and it's like, I can't believe I felt that way.
And I saw it, and I think for me, like what I did on the back end was, as I mentioned, I'm academically inclined, so I started reading and researching a lot about different kinds of mental illnesses. I just was like, I need to understand, because I don't know how, like, I don't know how this works from a brain processing point of view.
Yeah.
And so, like, let me try to get more information.
And that was probably like the most loving thing I'd ever felt about my own mental health at that point, besides obviously you being there for me when I was at the mental hospital. But like, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I was like, it just felt like you weren't labeling me as something that was so like this an anomaly of dysfunction that everybody made me feel like I was. Like, you were like, this is what's happening, we can understand it and we can help it. Like,
yeah, I was reading books about that were like PhD professors that deal with these issues. You know, I was like, this does not equate to anything being like wrong with a person. Look at these very, very high achieving people that like have to do daily talk therapy because that's what helps them regulate in this world. Like, that doesn't, I
don't know. I just felt like I had such a fucked up relationship to like mental health stuff too, because of my previous experience with therapist. And then in the mental hospital, they were so quick to just be like, is this a boy problem?
And then to quickly medicate.
And it just,
that's always their first.
And what?
To medicate.
And then they just gave me pills, and I was like, they labeled it a boy problem. They didn't. And I remember trying to tell them, like, this is what else is happening at home, but also with some trepidation because Carson was still a minor. So I wasn't saying like everything. That was always part of the problem, is like, I wouldn't say everything because I would be scared to tell the full picture.
Yeah.
And then that created these gaps for these people. But they very much latched onto boy problems. And I remember trying to tell them other things. They did not give a fuck. And then like I remember one of the orderlies like giving me, like, very much hitting on me and giving me special treatment, quote unquote. It's not like treatment I wanted. Like he would give me the phone at times that the phone wasn't allowed. But he would just like hit on me. And I just remember being like, at the time it was very normal to me. So I was just like, whatever. But looking back, I'm like, what did that do to me in the mental hospital when?
I remember getting those phone calls. They were from a weird number.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I got to step out of class. Hold on.
A class?
Yeah,
I just call you and you were in class?
You only got the phone when you got the phone. So I had to.
Oh, my God.
Take the call.
Wow.
My sister, my incredible sister, who was also dealing with this difficult hand we were all dealt, helped me through the darkest moment of my life. She did whatever she could do to make me feel safe, loved, and understood in a moment where I felt completely and utterly broken. She helped me find therapists, researched mental illness so she could better understand what I was going through, and treated me like a human being when I genuinely did not feel like one worth saving. I am grateful to her every single day of my life. I love her until the end of time, and I truly do not know who I would be without her. And yes, I still carry guilt about putting her in that position, even though she tells me not to. She says she has no regrets, that loving me through that time helped shape her into a more whole person. She has shown me what unconditional love looks like, and I too am a more whole person because of her.
There's nothing in this world I wouldn't throw in the garbage to get to you, to like try to keep. The idea of losing you is the worst thing in my whole, like, that is the worst thing that could ever happen to me. And it's a very real fear that I have still every day. And not every day. I don't think about it every day, but like, it's not something that I ever will not take seriously, because the world is better with you in it. My world is better with you in it. And I do everything again the same. And I know it's not perfect, and I know what we did wasn't perfect, but we did the best we could. And
in my eyes, you were perfect.
I left that mental hospital with a plan shaped largely by my sister. A plan to get help, stay alive, and try to understand what was happening inside my brain. And because life in our family apparently believed in thematic symmetry, I left the mental hospital I was in and then, get this, immediately went to visit my mom in a different one. I wish I were making this up. I wish I were a good enough writer to come up with this on my own. But this level of coincidence is saved for a life stranger than fiction. My mom had self-admitted to a mental hospital, threatening suicide. In my lowest state, I was still so worried about her. She went to another rehab shortly after that. We were now, yet again, at the lowest point our family had ever reached. Dear listener, I know this is heavy, and I know this is probably uncomfortable. Your trusty narrator has officially hit her rock bottom. But I think it's important to be honest about what my mental health actually looked like at this point in my life, shaped by my incredibly intense trauma, genetics, and a brain I didn't yet understand. While in therapy after my suicide attempt, I was diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive disorder. Control. That thing that keeps coming up in this story. The thing I had always desperately wanted in life was something my brain now officially wrestled with 24/7. And suddenly, moments from my childhood started making sense. The rituals, the looping thoughts, the rhythms I could never fully explain to other people. And while OCD is something you are predisposed to, trauma has a very effective way of turning the volume all the way up. Getting diagnosed was crucial to understanding myself and figuring out how to move forward and how to, one day, let go of control. So, let me tell you now, I am okay. I am in therapy. I have coping mechanisms, an incredibly healthy support system, and most importantly, I love who I am, OCD and all. About a year after all of this, my dad died. The grief absolutely leveled me. I missed weeks of school and eventually went to see a counselor at my community college to figure out what my options were for missed tests and assignments. And I remember her being so cold about it, so deeply unempathetic. And she didn't even know that underneath my dad dying was an entire decade of trauma and survival begging for a lifeline. She told me that if I didn't provide a copy of the death certificate within a certain amount of time, I'd fail my classes. In hindsight, I probably could have pushed back. I could have asked for another counselor, someone who might care and help and give me more time. But college wasn't the grand escape for me that it had been for my siblings. I was exhausted, grieving, burnt out from taking care of my dad, and this woman sitting across from me clearly did not care. So I left, and I never went back. And instead, I told myself, all right, Holly, you've got to make it as an artist, somehow. To my already catastrophizing brain, leaving college felt like even more proof that I was failing at life. No college degree, now with more mental illness, still feeling like the black sheep while my siblings seemed to move through life in ways that made a little more sense. But then, for the first time in what felt like forever, something impossible happened. My mom got sober, actually sober. After nearly a decade, she came back to us in a way I genuinely didn't think was possible anymore. And because of my dad's life insurance policy, we suddenly had money for the first time since he got sick. Which is such a warped, happy reality, isn't it? Have you heard the good news, everyone? Your dad is dead, but the financial suffering part has ended. We didn't talk about the addiction. We didn't talk about the trauma. We didn't talk about any of the horrifying things that had happened. We just needed our mom back. There she was, planning family vacations, actual family vacations, something we had never gotten before. She cooked our favorite meals, bought us clothes, made birthdays and Christmases feel special again. I was 20 years old, and I honestly didn't even remember what having a parent like that felt like anymore. And I know this probably sounds small to people with normal childhoods, but I cannot explain how magical something as simple as a family dinner suddenly felt. I remember feeling this bizarre, unfamiliar sensation in my body all the time. Like, wait, is this what happiness feels like? This is what other people feel all the time? Life isn't just constant stress and dread and sadness? My brother moved away to college and my sister had already moved out, but I stayed home. We were all rebuilding relationships with our mom in different ways, but getting to live with her during this version of her felt really special to me. She came to every single one of my comedy shows. She pet the hair on my head while I laid on her shoulder, binge watching Bravo shows together.
I really loved seeing you and mom so cordial. And I remember you going into, like, it seemed like almost every morning you'd go sit on mom, you'd perch on the end of her bed and talk to her. Mm-hmm. And I remember loving that and being like, this is a sign of health. Like,
Yeah.
a daughter loving and talking to her mother, at least in a way, I was very happy about that.
Now, don't get me wrong, life was still hard through my 20s. I was trying to manage my OCD, struggling financially as an artist while my siblings had much more stable careers. And emotionally, there were entire sections of my past I still couldn't even look at directly. I was terrified that if I opened that box too fully, everything would collapse again. Because now I knew what happiness felt like. And even if it wasn't perfect, I did not want to lose it. And then, on November 4th, 2022, right as I was planning my wedding with my incredible fiancé, my soon-to-be husband took a phone call outside, something he didn't normally do. He walked back in, and I knew what he was going to say before he even said it. Holly, your mom is dead.
Headed home from LA, thanking God for AAA. Actor's life ain't easy on a bartender's pay. I can almost smell that bird and hear my daddy say, hello my son, welcome home, and how long can you stay? We'll have a beer.
Everybody Knows But Me is a production of Companion Arts and Next Chapter podcasts. This episode was written by me, Holly Brown. The cold open scene you heard at the beginning is a fictionalized version of very real moments from my life, scripted by our lead producer, editor, music supervisor, and sound designer, Pete Musto. It featured Casey Rose as me, Kim Bessler as Beatrice, Mick Fury as Nelson, Sam Levine as the head clinician, Maddie Worth as my sister Casey, and Pete Musto as our show's announcer. Sound design for that scene was by Earl Davis. Our associate producer is Ilana Nevins. Original theme music by Kyle Murdock. Our show artwork was created by Aaron Hill. Our video producer is Emily Reeves. Our videographer is Dalton Polivka. Our animator is Justin Cortez, and our marketing team is Tink Media. Our executive producers are Jeremiah Tittle and also me, Holly Brown. New episodes of Everybody Knows But Me come out every Wednesday. Follow the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, youtube.com/@everybodyknowspodcast, or wherever you get some great content like ours. Do you have a story of family secrets or darkly funny drama that you want to share? We want to hear it. Email us at everybodyknowspod@gmail.com. And make sure to leave us a rating and review or drop a comment telling us what you like about the show. Follow me at Holly Brown Comedy and the show on all social media at Everybody Knows But Me. And come back next week to find out what crazy hijinks the Brown family is in for and hear more of the stories we tell ourselves to survive.
Guess I'll keep on going down this road I've been going down. This is just another song I can't keep in my heart. Never known the difference, and I hope I never start. You people are the reason my life's a work of art. The signature belongs to you from the very start. And I give thanks for the strength to keep on trying. I give thanks for the faith that I keep. I'll go over the river and through the woods, no matter how cold or how deep. And I'll be in the end what I'll be. I'll go over the river and through the woods, no matter how cold or how deep. And I'll be in the end what I'll be.
Next Chapter Podcasts.